Welcome! AG Sports is back again. Like I said, making lots of videos, making them short, sweet, to the point, as fast as I can, while still giving you enough data. So this video is going to be on continuity ranks and strength of schedule. If you're a fantasy player, I know everybody tells you, like, don't look at strength of schedule, don't look at strength of schedule, you don't know, blah, blah, blah. Bullshit, yes we do. If nobody fucking knew, then there wouldn't be any Vegas. We know. We know what teams are good, we know what teams are bad, and we know at least somewhat of what we're going to expect going into the season. They're right. We're not going to get it down to the number exactly what is going to be, the win outcome for one particular team. But we know enough to have a general sense of, hey, look, this team is good, or this team is going to have at least an easy schedule and kind of a route to being good. Like I said, if that was true and nobody knew anything and it was just a total free-for-all, Vegas would not be making money. They would not have the big buildings they do. They know, which means we can know. You just have to put in the work to do it. So one of the things I like to go off of here, as always, my man Warren Sharp, he provides us with efficiency ranks and strength of schedule, and this is free, guys. This is not something you have to pay for. It's not just in his book. It's an absolutely free thing he offers on sharpfootballstats.com. I implore you, if you're serious about betting and you're going to make this like a season-long thing, or you want to at least try to really win some money and not just throw it down the drain, go to his website, look around there, play around with it, and it's going to give you so much data, I can almost guarantee you're not even going to know where to start. So look at it now and kind of start getting familiar with it. But what I'm going to cover today is the strength of schedule. So if you're looking at the screen right now, to the left, you're going to see the defensive efficiency ranks, and it's broken down who's good at passing defense and who's good at rushing defense. And then to the right of that, you're going to see the strength of schedule. The first strength of schedule we're looking at is the season-long strength of schedule. Some things that stand out to me very quickly. One, San Francisco has the easiest strength of schedule this year, which usually plays out pretty well as far as predicting who's going to hit their win totals, who has a good chance at making the playoffs, and who has a chance at winning the division. So I'll tell you right now, I like the Rams more than I like the 49ers to win that division, but just the fact that the 49ers have the easiest path to get there makes me kind of stay off the Rams. The Rams are the 23rd hardest kind of strength of schedule and path to winning games, which means 49ers are just going to have that edge. And so I don't want to put too much money down on the Rams, if any, knowing that they have this uphill climb where San Francisco can kind of just coast through a lot of it. Secondly, though, we see that the Browns have the second easiest strength of schedule, and that's really important because the Browns are already a good team. They're pretty much good all over the board. They have a lot of players that we expect to be impact players this year, and now they have the schedule to kind of push them over the edge. So if you're looking at the Browns, Ravens, and who do you want to maybe bet to win their division, the Browns have the second easiest schedule, while the Ravens have the 21st toughest schedule, if you want to call it that. So again, they just have a massive edge there. That being said, we can also break it down into the first few weeks or the first however many weeks you want on his website. The one that I look at is the first 4 weeks, and I do that because, as I mentioned before in a lot of other videos, I primarily like to bet the first half of the season, and so the first quarter of the season will give us kind of a good benchmark to go off of, and then for those the second quarter of the season, so like weeks 5 through 8 or so, we know who we should be fading and who we should maybe jumping on. So the first 4 weeks, the Jaguars, Panthers, these guys have really easy schedule to start off with, and so they may be teams to fade. And so if you're looking over here, my teams to fade after the first 4 weeks are going to be the Panthers, the Bengals, the Bears, and the Giants, who all have a substantial increase in difficulty after those first 4 weeks. So let's say the Bengals get off to a decent start. Let's say they're like 2-2 or maybe even 3-1. And, you're starting to hear some hype on them. The media's jumping on them, talking about Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and look at Joe Mixon. Perfect time to fade them. Perfect time. I can almost guarantee you it's going to be like week 4 or 5. If it goes the way we're expecting, and they're looking better than a lot of people have expected right now, you're going to want to fade the public. As far as teams to maybe jump on and ride, kind of ride that train, it's going to be the 49ers, the Browns, the Dolphins, and Eagles. The 49ers have a pretty substantial decrease in difficulty after the first 4 weeks. Same thing with the Browns and the Dolphins. A lot of this guys can just be attributed to just schedule making. As far as the defensive efficiency ranks, if you look through this here, and again you may want to just pause it, it's going to show you who is good, who's bad as far as stopping the pass, stopping the run. One thing that really stands out to me is as far as rushing efficiency or defensive efficiency is the Raiders coming at 31. You know who they play week 1? They play the Ravens, one of the heaviest running teams in the NFL. The Ravens minus 4.5 is looking better and better literally every day to me. All right, and now we have a continuity rankings. Now, this to me is probably more important if you're going to be doing the entire season, but it does also indicate, or it is a strong indicator on how a team will start and kind of how comfortable they are with, the beginning of the season. And a lot of this is really just going to be, obviously, familiarity with the team and with the plays and all that kind of stuff. So one of the things we have ranked as far as continuity goes is the O-line. One of the most important things is your O-line and how familiar not only your quarterback and your running back are with them, but how familiar they are with each other. And so, as you can see, the Browns are actually number 1 on our O-line rankings. Right now, I just have it, according to team, alphabetical order, which is fine. If you happen to make your own spreadsheet, and again, like I say with everything, pause it, feel free to recreate it on your own if you like. And then once you recreate it on your own spreadsheet, then you can, categorize it and organize it however you like. So you can do it, I usually go by like O-line rankings, 1 to 32, whatever. But right now, just for the sake of the video, I have it in alphabetical. That being said, though, the O-line rankings are going to impact fantasy as well, obviously. So if you're going to be, drafting running backs like everybody does and, trying to take them early, you're going to want to make sure, hey, this guy has at least a half-assed decent line that he's going to be running behind. I think one of the easiest ones, like I said, is the Browns. But one big question mark is the Steelers. And the Steelers actually have the 32nd ranked offensive line, which means it's the absolute worst. But that brings me to my next point. You also want to be looking at the strength of schedule. So, you can maybe make up for a bad line with an easy schedule. If you're playing a bunch of nobodies, a bad line doesn't stick out so much. Now, the Steelers are actually ranked with the 32nd most difficult schedule, meaning they have the absolute most difficult schedule in the entire NFL. So not only are they trying to maybe mask or disguise kind of the bad offensive line they have, they're also going to be doing it against a really tough schedule. They have the gauntlet in front of them. So while I like Najee Harris, if you're looking at this and thinking of maybe your fantasy team, you might want to bump him down just a little bit. Not saying that I wouldn't take him or that he's not going to be a great player. I'm just saying he's got an uphill climb. So that's what the second row is going to be talking about is just the strength of schedule. And so the easiest strength of schedule, as we discussed earlier, is the 49ers. But lastly, guys, is the coordinators. So your coordinators returning is important, like I said, as far as like play calling is concerned and just the overall comfortability the team, I don't even know where I think I just made up for it. Anyways, that the team has with the play calling and with the way that the offense and defense is going to be run. So, Cardinals and a lot of, like, I'd say almost half the NFL has all 3 of their guys coming back, which offense, defense, and head coach. Some of the teams, that's actually kind of a bad thing. So, like the Broncos, if you've been watching my other videos, their offensive play calling was just god-awful last year. Pat Shurmur is staying around, so they have continuity, but it's not necessarily a good thing. As far as the Steelers are concerned, you may have seen this earlier, Matt Canada was the one guy that's brand new to the coordinator room. He is the offensive coordinator, and he's actually bringing a lot of really good ideas. He's bringing in a lot of pre-snap motion, a lot of play action, well, as much as he can. Like I said, Roethlisberger is not really familiar, and I said this in the previous video, but Roethlisberger does not like to run play action. Now, Matt Canada does tend to be the guy to, try to institute a lot of play action. So we'll see kind of how they draw that balance between a quarterback who doesn't want to do it and a coordinator who's trying to get as much positive EV out there as possible. But same thing, guys. Feel free to come through, pause the video, maybe write this down, or just take a screenshot or whatever you want to do to kind of familiarize yourself with this. Like I said, my advice or takeaway would be to just create your own spreadsheet, and that way you can organize it the way you want as far as which of these you feel is most important. One thing here is the unit rankings, and I had done the previous video where I go over the different unit rankings from offensive line, quarterback, coach, all that kind of stuff, and kind of who ranked where. The top 9 were these 9 teams here: the Chiefs, Ravens, Packers, Bucks, and you can read it. I'm not going to do all 9, but not really a big surprise other than maybe just the Cowboys. The Cowboys, I will tell you, kind of got this high in spite of their coach. They have really high rankings all over the place as far as offense is concerned, and their coach is just kind of like middle of the way. I want to say off the top of my head he's like 19, and then their defense obviously isn't good. So this is how the top 9 teams came out by rankings or by unit rankings. But when we can put that kind of in line with this continuity and the O-line and strength of schedule and everything like that, this is the list we get, with the Buccaneers not only having the best unit rankings, but also having the best offensive line and the best strength of schedule. So, and on top of that, they have 3 out of 3 coordinators coming back. So last year was the first year for Kevin Stefanski. He brings everybody back. The second year, typically we see a step forward for that coach, and kind of just being familiar with being a coach and knowing what to do and knowing what to expect. So the Browns are really high up my list, guys. And if you saw anything I posted on Twitter or anything like that, I do really like the Browns this year. And on that note, my Twitter is AG Sports. You can also find our Facebook page at AG Sports, or just keep watching the videos. But hopefully you'll take some of the info, like I said, maybe make your own spreadsheets, or if nothing else, kind of know who to fade, who to follow, and what you should be looking for as we get into the season. But thanks again. Good luck, guys, and see you again soon.